You have been visualizing again and again. You close your eyes. You feel the emotion. You see the future so clearly. Yet when you open them, nothing has changed. The same room, the same thoughts, the same loop holding you prisoner. And here is the warning. If you continue like this, you will spend your life chasing shadows. You will waste years trapped in the illusion that vision alone is enough. Because visualization is not manifestation. It never was. The truth is darker and sharper. The universe does not bend to your requests. It does not care about your wishes. It responds only to the frequency you embody, not the one you imagine in meditation, the one pulsing through your choices, your breath, your nervous system. This is why you feel the sting of disappointment, because your energy still vibrates in the frequency of not yet. Your body has been programmed to wait, to earn, to deserve, to believe the dream is always far away. That program will keep you stuck forever unless you break it now. And there is no second chance. Every day you delay, your nervous system grows deeper roots into lack. Every moment you hesitate, you strengthen the identity of the one who does not have. But there is a hidden code, a rhythm of calm certainty, a frequency that does not rush, does not crave, does not wonder. It already knows. When you act from the identity of someone who has already received, reality has no choice but to shift. This video is not about dreaming. It is about remembering. It is about teaching your body what your soul already knows. And if you miss this, if you click away, you will miss the one secret that separates those who stay trapped from those who finally break through. The choice is here. The choice is now. Think about this. How many times have you believed the next meditation would change everything? The next vision board, the next affirmation, and yet nothing held, nothing stayed, because you were chasing pictures instead of transmitting power. A double-slit experiment proves something ancient sages already whispered. Matter itself bends when observed with presence, but observation without embodiment is hollow. The field reads coherence. It does not read fantasy. Sarah in New York learned this the hard way. For 2 years, she visualized her dream design career. She closed her eyes at night and saw the office, the clients, the money. Yet every morning, she woke to the same struggle. Nothing shifted until she stopped seeing herself as someone trying to get there and began living as if she already belonged. There, she dressed differently. She carried herself differently. She moved through rooms with the energy of someone who was already hired. Within months, the opportunities that ignored her before started knocking. Not because she tried harder, but because her signal changed. Ask yourself right now, what signal are you transmitting? What frequency is echoing in your breath and in your choices? You may say you want abundance, but if every action vibrates with fear of not enough, the field reflects only that fear. You may dream of love, but if every heartbeat guards against rejection, the field amplifies that resistance. The universe is not cruel, it is consistent. It mirrors exactly what you are. And here's the urgent truth. Every second you linger in misalignment, you are rehearsing lack. You are carving neural pathways that lock you deeper into scarcity. Neuroscience shows us that repetition wires the brain. Each repeated thought becomes a groove. Each repeated emotion becomes a habit. This is why it feels so hard to hold the energy of already mine. Because your nervous system has been trained to fire in the rhythm of not yet. But training can be undone. Pathways can be rewritten. The same brain that has held you in waiting can be rewired for receiving. You must decide to shift now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because the longer you wait, the more the old identity hardens. Do you feel the tension in your chest when I say this? That is not fear. That is the edge of transformation. That is the old self resisting the truth that you are ready to embody something new. The body interprets unfamiliar frequency as danger, but your soul recognizes it as home. Imagine stepping out of the loop tonight. Imagine waking tomorrow and carrying yourself not as someone trying to get there, but as someone already there. How would you breathe? How would you walk? How would you look into the mirror? That shift is available in this moment. This is the invitation to stop chasing, to stop begging, to stop reinforcing distance, and instead to embody, to align, to remember, because the field is waiting. It has always been waiting. If you feel the weight of this truth pressing against your heart, do not ignore it. This is your signal. This is your moment. Comment the words, "I want to change right now," and let that be your first act of embodiment. Say it, declare it, anchor it. I want to change. Because once you declare it, you begin to bend the field toward you. Once you embody it, reality adjusts. So I ask you, if visualization is not enough, then what is the real key that unlocks the life you have been longing for? That is where we are going next. The key is not in your imagination. The key is in the frequency you are broadcasting. You can see the picture in your mind 1,000 times. You can repeat the mantra until your throat is dry. But if your frequency does not match the reality you are calling, nothing moves. The universe does not hear your words. It does not bow to your vision boards. It listens only to the energy you are radiating in every breath, every choice, every heartbeat. Ask yourself this. What frequency are you sending out right now? Are you sending out lack? Are you sending out fear? Are you broadcasting the signal of someone waiting, someone hoping, someone trying? Or are you broadcasting the coherence of someone who already knows it is done? Coherence. That word is the secret that scientists and sages both agree on. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned, you generate a steady rhythm, a signal. The field cannot ignore. Quantum physics calls it resonance. Neuroscience calls it coherence. Ancient mystics called it harmony. It is all the same truth. The field mirrors the identity you embody. Oprah Winfrey understood this long before she became a household name. She did not rise from poverty because she begged the world to notice her. She rose because she lived as if she already carried fullness. She spoke from a place of enough. She moved as if the future had already arrived. That is coherence. That is frequency. And that is why the universe responded. Think about Jim Carrey. In the early days of his struggle, he wrote himself a check for $10 million. He dated it. He carried it in his wallet. But he did not just look at it with longing. He lived like it was already his. He walked the streets of Hollywood not as a man begging for roles, but as a star preparing for his breakthrough. Years later, he received that exact amount for the film Dumb and Dumber. That is not coincidence. That is coherence bending reality. So here is the urgent truth. The universe is not punishing you. It is not ignoring you. It is simply reflecting the vibration you emit. If you walk through life as the person who is still lacking, then lack is amplified. If you walk through life as the person who already has, then abundance is magnetized. And this is why so many people stay stuck. Because their mind dreams of success, but their body trembles with fear. Their mouth speaks of abundance, but their choices scream scarcity. Their heart longs for love, but their actions radiate walls of defense. That split energy is chaos. And chaos has no coherence. The field responds to consistency. When you align your thought with your emotion and your action, you send a clear, steady frequency. That is when reality shifts. That is when doors open. That is when opportunities flow to you, because they must out now. Do you feel the weight of this? Do you feel the pressure rising in your chest as you hear these words? That is not resistance to the truth. That is recognition. Your soul already knows this. It has always known. But your nervous system has been trained to vibrate in the frequency of not yet. You are taught to wait, to earn, to deserve, to prepare. And so your body has rehearsed lack again and again until it became your baseline. But coherence can be chosen. Right here, right now. You can decide to align thought, feeling, and action. You can decide to embody the identity of the one who already has. And let me ask you directly, how much longer will you wait? How many more days will you waste imagining when you could be transmitting? How many more nights will you close your eyes to visions only to wake up unchanged? At some point, waiting becomes a habit. At some point, hope becomes self-sabotage. This is your call to action. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop asking. Start embodying. Start aligning. Start living as if. Do it now. Comment the words, I am in coherence. Write it. Claim it. Anchor it in your nervous system right now. Let this be the first signal of your new frequency. Because when you type it, when you say it, when you embody it, you are no longer a dreamer. You are a transmitter. You are broadcasting a new reality. And here is the question you must face next. If coherence is the code, if frequency is the key, then how do you change the signal that has been carved so deeply into your brain and your habits? How do you shift the frequency that has ruled you for years? That is the mystery we are about to uncover. To change your frequency, you must retrain your nervous system. This is the part no one tells you. You want to change. You crave transformation. Yet your body is addicted to the rhythm of worry, to the vibration of not enough. You wake up and the first thought is stress. The first feeling is pressure. The first signal your body sends is lack. And then you wonder why nothing shifts. Your nervous system has been trained like an old instrument, out of tune, playing the same discordant notes over and over. No matter how much you visualize, no matter how many times you repeat affirmations, if the instrument is still tuned to fear, the song of your life will never change. This is where science meets destiny. Neuroscience has revealed something extraordinary. Neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself, to break old circuits, to carve new pathways, to build habits that were impossible yesterday. Every thought you repeat is a signal. Every action you repeat is a groove. And over time, your brain shapes itself to match the rhythm you choose. Ask yourself, what grooves have you been carving? What rhythms has your body memorized? Stress, doubt, delay. That is why it feels impossible to act boldly. Because your nervous system believes fear is home. But what if you could teach it something new? What if you could train your body to feel safe in abundance? To feel normal in confidence? To feel at home in decisive action? That is the work. That is the path. And here is the proof. Maria, a nurse in California, spent years trapped by hesitation. She wanted to move forward, but anxiety froze her in place. Then she discovered the 5-second rule. 5 seconds to interrupt the old circuit. 5 seconds to break hesitation before it hardens into paralysis. She counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she moved. At first, it felt forced. It felt wrong. But repetition rewired her. The more she acted within those 5 seconds, the more her nervous system adapted. Fear no longer controlled her. Action became her baseline. She transformed hesitation into momentum. That is the power of neuroplasticity. A single repeated action, a single decision, multiplied again and again until the brain itself begins to change shape. Until the nervous system learns a new rhythm. So I ask you, how long will you let your body be the enemy of your future? How many times will you let hesitation steal opportunities from you? How many times will you feel the spark of an idea only to smother it under the weight of delay. The truth is simple. You do not need more time. You do not need more clarity. You do not need permission. You need 5 seconds. 5 seconds to bypass the old circuit. 5 seconds to rewire the brain. 5 seconds to choose action over fear. This is your moment. This is your test. Write the words 5 seconds in the comments right now. Let that be your first act of interruption. Your first signal to the nervous system that the old rhythm is finished. Do it now. Anchor it now. Because the longer you wait, the deeper the old groove becomes. And every delay is not neutral. Every delay strengthens the identity of the one who does not act. The one who hesitates. The one who stays the same. But once you choose differently, once you break the pattern, everything begins to shift. The nervous system is not your enemy. It is your greatest ally once it learns the new frequency. Once it feels safe in action, it will carry you further than willpower ever could. So why do you still resist? Why do you still sabotage yourself when the path is right in front of you? That is the question we must face next. The obstacle is not the world outside. The obstacle is the resistance inside of you. You think you are lazy. You think you lack discipline. But the truth cuts deeper. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are simply trapped in an identity that clings to the old. Every time you try to rise, the old self pulls you back. Every time you dream of stepping forward, resistance whispers reasons to wait. Have you noticed how you hesitate at the edge of action? The idea sparks, the vision excites, and then doubt slams the door shut. Not because the path is impossible, not because you are unworthy, but because your nervous system has been trained to see change as danger. This is not laziness. This is programming. This is the invisible loop of resistance. Science has mapped this trap. The habit loop, cue, routine, reward. A trigger fires. You fall into the same behavior, and your brain rewards it with a chemical drip of comfort. Even if that routine keeps you stuck, even if that comfort chains you to mediocrity. Resistance thrives because the brain prefers the familiar. So you procrastinate, you delay, you convince yourself tomorrow is safer. And each time you obey resistance, the loop grows stronger. Michael in Boston knew this struggle. A brilliant student, yet paralyzed by the fear of failure. He dreamed of achieving more, but the moment he faced a challenge, resistance suffocated him. Assignments were left undone. Opportunities slipped away. His own doubt became the enemy that lived inside his chest. But then something shifted. Michael learned to break the loop by shrinking the battle. Instead of wrestling the entire mountain, he chose the next step. He divided his goals into fragments, so small resistance had no room to breathe. And each time he completed a fragment, his brain rewarded the new behavior. A new loop was born, the loop of progress. That is the secret. Resistance is not destroyed in one war. It is defeated in 1,000 tiny victories. Each small step weakens the old loop. Each small win strengthens the new identity. Until the fear that once ruled you is nothing more than an echo. So let me ask you directly. How many opportunities have you lost to the whispers of resistance? How many times have you believed the lie that you are not ready, not capable, not enough? How many years have slipped through your fingers while you rehearsed delay? And how much longer will you let this inner enemy define you? The truth is sharp. Resistance is not proof that you cannot. Resistance is proof that you are on the edge of transformation. The closer you are to breaking free, the louder the old self screams. But you have a choice. You can surrender to the voice of doubt, or you can break the loop today, not tomorrow. Today. This is your call to action. Comment the words "break free" right now. Type it, claim it, anchor it into your nervous system. Let the act of writing be your first victory against resistance. Do not underestimate this. A single declaration can be the spark that rewires the loop. A single moment of defiance can flip the script on your entire future. Because once you break the loop, once you show your body that resistance no longer rules you, the identity of hesitation begins to die. And the identity of action begins to rise. So here is the haunting question. If the enemy is inside of you, if the resistance is born within, then what is the key that unlocks your true self? That is where we go next. The key to liberation is authenticity. To live from your higher self, not the mask you wear, not the role you play, not the image you crafted to make others comfortable. The higher self, the core of who you are before the world told you who to be. That is the frequency that unlocks freedom. That is the energy that bends reality. Ask yourself right now, how much of your life has been spent performing? How many choices have you made to be accepted rather than aligned? How many times have you silenced your truth because you feared rejection? You think the cost of authenticity is too high. You think people will judge. You think you will lose everything. But the truth is sharper. The cost of hiding is greater. The cost of denial is heavier. Every day you live outside your higher self, you pay with your energy, your joy, your health. Science has proven it. Studies show that living authentically raises levels of happiness, resilience, and psychological health. When your actions match your values, your nervous system calms, stress decreases, your immune system strengthens. You literally become stronger by being yourself. Steve Jobs understood this. He built an empire not by copying the world, but by refusing to betray his vision. Stay true to yourself, he said. That was not a slogan. That was survival. Authenticity was the current that powered his genius. And look at Emily, a CEO in Silicon Valley. For years, she climbed the ladder by pleasing others. She said yes when she wanted no. She wore the mask of success, but inside she felt hollow. Anxiety consumed her. Burnout devoured her. It was only when she stopped performing and started leading from her higher self that everything shifted. She stopped trying to be liked. She started speaking truth. And the paradox appeared. The more authentic she became, the more respect she earned. Investors trusted her. Employees followed her. Her company grew. But more importantly, her soul was finally free. So I ask you again, what is the weight of the mask you are wearing? How much energy are you wasting keeping it in place? How many dreams are dying because you are too busy playing a role? The higher self does not beg for approval. The higher self does not trade truth for acceptance. The higher self radiates with a frequency that cannot be ignored. And here is the hidden danger. The longer you deny it, the quieter it becomes. The more you silence it, the harder it is to hear. Until one day you wake up and realize you no longer know who you are. But the moment you choose authenticity, the moment you choose truth, the higher self roars back to life. You feel it in your chest. You feel it in your breath. You feel the alignment that was missing for years. This is not about rebellion. This is not about chaos. This is about coherence with your own soul. The mask fragments you. The truth unites you. And unity is power. So here is your call to action. Write the word authentic in the comments right now. Let it be your first declaration. Your commitment to strip away the mask and step into the higher self. Because once you commit, once you anchor it, you begin to rewrite the story of your life. You stop living as a character in someone else's script. You start living as the author of your own. So I leave you with this burning question. If authenticity is the key, if the higher self is the path, then how do you rewrite the story of your life with this new energy? That is the mystery we step into next. The way you tell the story of yourself is the frequency you are. Broadcasting. Every word you speak about your life is a signal. Every identity you claim becomes a vibration. If you call yourself a failure, your body obeys. If you call yourself unlucky, your choices align with misfortune. If you call yourself weak, the universe mirrors weakness back to you. Ask yourself this: what story are you telling? Are you the one who is always struggling? The one who never gets the chance? The one who is waiting for rescue? Or are you the one who rises, the one who overcomes, the one who bends reality by embodying victory? Science has revealed this truth with brutal clarity. The self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe something about yourself, your brain, your choices, and your emotions conspire to make it real. It is not magic, it is psychology. But it feels like magic when your story changes and reality shifts. With it, John, a veteran from Texas, lived for years as a prisoner of his own narrative. He called himself broken. He called himself a victim. Every day he repeated this story to himself, and every day his body lived in the frequency of defeat. Until one day, in therapy, he was asked a question that cut through the fog. What if you are not a victim? What if you are a survivor? At first, the words felt heavy. They felt impossible. But the more he repeated them, the more his nervous system adapted. The more he told his new story, the more his life aligned. He stopped moving, like someone broken. He started walking like someone who had endured the fire and lived. Opportunities opened, relationships healed. His entire reality shifted the moment he changed his story. And here is the haunting truth. Most people are not trapped by circumstance. They are trapped by story. They repeat the same script until it becomes a prison. They forget they are the author. They forget they can write something new. So I ask you directly, what is the story you have been telling? What role have you cast yourself in? And how many years have you rehearsed a script that keeps you small? This is your moment to reclaim the pen. This is your moment to write again. Stop telling the story of the victim. Stop broadcasting the frequency of not enough. Start speaking as the survivor. Start vibrating as the creator. Because once your story changes, your energy changes. And once your energy changes, the field cannot ignore it. So here is your call to action. Comment one story you have been telling about yourself. Write it, expose it, free yourself from it. The moment you declare it, you break its grip. And the moment you break its grip, you open the door to a new script. Do not underestimate this. A single shift in story can realign your entire life. A single declaration can change the way your nervous system fires, the way your choices unfold, the way opportunities respond. But here is the deeper mystery. If a new story can change your reality, then what is the immersive experience that can transform you completely? That is where we go next. Embodied experience is the tool that turns your story into reality. This is the secret few dare to face. You can speak affirmations. You can visualize the dream. But until you live inside the role, until you breathe it, move it, and wear it, like skin, your story remains a fantasy. Your brain is powerful beyond measure. Neuroscience reveals a truth that shakes the foundation of what we think reality is. The brain does not distinguish between memory and vivid imagination. When you immerse yourself fully in a role, your nervous system fires as if it is already real. The circuits of action ignite. A body learns the vibration. The frequency begins to align. So what role are you rehearsing? The identity of someone waiting, a character of someone almost there, or the living embodiment of someone who already is? Every gesture, every word, every breath is a rehearsal. Which role are you practicing? Linda, an actress in Los Angeles, struggled for years chasing auditions. She was talented, but her energy betrayed her. She walked into rooms as if she were begging. Casting directors could feel the lack in her frequency. Until she changed her method. She decided to embody her future self every day. She dressed like the lead. She spoke like the lead. She moved like the lead. Not only on stage, but at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, in every moment. She stopped waiting to be chosen and started living as if she already was. And then it happened. She landed the role that transformed her career. Not because she got lucky, because she became undeniable. That is the power of immersion. The moment you live the story as if it is already written, the field cannot resist adjusting to match you. So ask yourself, how are you walking today? Are you moving like the person you wish to be? Or are you moving like the shadow of who you used to be? How are you speaking? How are you breathing? Every signal you send is training the universe how to respond. And here is the urgency. If you keep embodying the old role, the old story, the old version of yourself, you reinforce it. You chain yourself to the past. But the moment you choose to embody the higher version, the moment you step into that skin, the nervous system begins to adapt. The story begins to solidify. The dream begins to anchor. This is not pretending. This is programming. This is teaching your body to normalize the vibration of success, love, abundance, freedom. And once it feels normal, once it feels familiar, the resistance begins to fade. So I ask you again, how much longer will you wait to step into the role that belongs to you? How many more days will you walk in hesitation when you could be walking? In destiny. The choice is here. The choice is now. Comment the word embody below. Let that be your first act of immersion. Your first declaration that you are no longer rehearsing lack. You are rehearsing power. Because once you embody, once you live it, once you breathe it, the story is no longer something you tell. It is something you are. And the universe has no choice but to bend to it. But here comes the harder question. If immersion unlocks the story, how do you hold that energy when reality itself pushes back? How do you maintain the vibration of your higher self when the world resists? That is what we uncover next. You sustain the frequency when you take micro actions every single day. Not once in a while. Not only when you feel inspired. Every day. Because transformation is not built on sudden explosions of effort. Transformation is built on small, invisible steps that stack, compound, and eventually shift the course of your life. You want to know the truth. Most people fail not because they lack vision, but because they abandon the micro steps. They chase the grand gesture, the big breakthrough, the overnight change. But the universe does not respond to bursts. It responds to rhythm. The compound effect proves it. Science has shown us that small repeated behaviors accumulate. One small action repeated daily builds momentum. Momentum builds identity. Identity builds destiny. So ask yourself, what are the micro actions you are repeating? Are you repeating worry? Are you repeating doubt? Are you repeating hesitation? Then those tiny repetitions will compound into years of stagnation. But if you repeat gratitude, courage, and movement, those same small acts will compound into a new life. Robert, an engineer from Seattle, learned this in the darkest chapter of his life. Depression had stolen his energy, his joy, his will. He tried to fight it with drastic changes, but each time he collapsed under the weight of his own expectations. Then he chose something so small, it almost seemed pointless. Every morning, before doing anything else, he wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. The first days felt hollow. The words felt forced. But he did it anyway. Day after day, week after week, the practice rewired him. His brain began to look for gratitude automatically. His emotions softened. His nervous system began to settle. 6 months later, the man who once woke heavy with despair began to rise with hope. Gratitude became his anchor, and from that anchor, he built a life beyond depression. That is the power of micro-action. A single step that feels small, almost invisible, becomes unstoppable when repeated long enough. So what about you? What is the action you can repeat today? Not tomorrow, not someday, today. One breath, one choice, one step. Because if you cannot control the entire journey, you can always control the next step. But here is the warning. Neglect the micro actions, and you will sabotage yourself. You will chase highs, burn out, and collapse back into the old loop. But honor the micro actions, and you will sustain the frequency. So I ask you right now, what if you committed to just one ritual? One small act repeated daily with absolute consistency. Where would you be in 6 months? In 1 year? In 5? The answer is simple. You would not recognize yourself. This is your call to action. Write the words 3 gratitudes in the comments right now. Let this be your first micro action. Anchor it by declaring it. Because when you declare it, you are no longer hoping for change. You are practicing it. This is how great lives are built. Brick by brick, step by step. Small but unstoppable. But the question remains, if micro actions create the shift, how do you overcome the boredom, the repetition, the monotony that tries to pull you away from consistency? That is the challenge we confront next. You sustain the frequency when you turn resistance into fuel for action. Think about it. What if the very thing you call fear, stress, or hesitation was never meant to destroy you? What if it was energy waiting to be claimed? You feel resistance because you are on the edge of expansion. You feel pressure because your body is gathering power. But most people misinterpret it. They run, they freeze, they collapse. And so the energy becomes poison instead of fuel. Science proves this. Studies on stress reveal something extraordinary. When you see stress not as danger, but as preparation, your body changes its response. Your heart races, but not from fear. It races to give you energy. Your breath quickens, not to suffocate you, but to sharpen your focus. Stress reframed becomes power. Resistance reframed becomes fire. So I ask you, what if every moment of hesitation, every knot in your stomach, every wave of doubt was actually a signal that your body is charging for breakthrough? Would you still run from it? Or would you harness it? Jessica, a writer in Denver, lived this truth. She wanted to create something great, but resistance crippled her. Deadlines filled her with panic. Instead of seeing pressure as an enemy, she decided to flip the script. She treated every deadline not as a threat, but as fuel. Each wave of urgency became fire in her hands. She poured it into the page. The very resistance that once silenced her became the rhythm of her writing. The result, a book that climbed the bestseller lists and changed her career forever. Not because the resistance disappeared, but because she turned it into momentum. And that is your invitation. Stop praying for resistance to vanish. Stop waiting for fear to dissolve. The absence of resistance will never come. The key is to transform it, to look it in the eye and say, "You are my energy now." Ask yourself, what if the very fear holding you back was the exact signal that you are ready? What if the pressure you feel is the proof that power is already in your hands? How would your life change if every moment of stress became rocket fuel instead of quicksand? This is your turning point. Comment the word fuel right now. Declare it. Claim it. Anchor it. Say to yourself, I turn fear into fuel. I turn resistance into fire. Because once you reframe, everything changes. The energy that once froze you now propels you. The pressure that once broke you now strengthens you. You no longer fight resistance. You ride it. And here is the haunting mystery. If resistance itself can be turned into fuel, then what happens when all that energy collides into a single climax of transformation? What does the peak of breakthrough truly look like? That is what we will uncover next. The climax is the moment you are no longer waiting. You have already become. Not someday, not tomorrow, now. This is the quantum threshold where everything shifts. The old self dissolves. The gap between desire and reality collapses. You are no longer chasing. You are no longer begging. You are embodying. And in that embodiment, the field has no choice but to align. This is not theory. Science has given us language for this state. Flow, the moment when mind and body synchronize so perfectly that time itself bends. In flow, your energy is not scattered. It is concentrated. Focus sharpens. Action becomes effortless. Productivity multiplies. Athletes describe it as being in the zone. Artists describe it as being carried by something greater than themselves. And in those moments, transformation is not effort. It is inevitability. Ivan, a musician in Nashville, lived this climax. For years, he wrote songs that went unnoticed. He hustled. He begged. He waited for a break. But then one night, something cracked open. He picked up his guitar, and instead of forcing, he surrendered. He entered flow. Words poured. Melodies cascaded. In one session, he wrote the song that would not just chart, but redefine his career. That night, he stopped being a man hoping for success and became the artist who embodied it. The climax was not when the world heard the song. The climax was when he became the one who no longer waited. So, I ask you, what would it feel like to stop waiting, to stop rehearsing, to stop imagining? What would it feel like to step into the version of yourself who has already become? The climax is not something you chase. It is something you allow. It arrives when you finally surrender the identity of waiting and embrace the identity of being. The world around you bends because it must. And here is the call. Declare it now. Type the word now in the comments. Let this be the line in the sand. The moment you stop waiting and start becoming. The moment you collapse time and embody destiny. Because once you declare, once you embody, once you align, reality has no option but to meet you where you are. This is the quantum climax. This is the threshold of transformation. And yet, one question burns brighter than the rest. If you have already become, how do you transmit this frequency to the world around you? That is the mystery we will step into next. You transmit by living it now, in every breath, in every step, in every choice you make. This is the final truth. Consciousness creates. Inner strength unlocks. Fear is conquered. And immediate action transforms. You have walked through the codes. You have seen the hidden patterns. You have felt the weight of resistance and the power of alignment. And now, everything collapses into this single moment. The universe does not respond to waiting. It responds to embodiment. The future is not something you chase. It is something you live now. Megan, a single mother in Florida, proved this. She was drowning in fear, trapped in cycles of doubt, and crushed by responsibility. But one day, in a moment just like this, she made a declaration. She typed 3 words, I am ready. It felt small. It felt almost meaningless. But those words were the spark. She began to act as if the future was already hers. She stopped asking permission. She started moving with certainty. 1 year later, she had built a thriving business, rewriting her story and rewriting her life. All from a single declaration. So I ask you, what will you declare? Will you walk away unchanged, repeating the same loops? Or will you claim your alignment here? And now. Do not underestimate this. Every second you delay, the old identity grows stronger. Every hesitation cements the story of waiting. But every moment you act, every declaration you make, sends a frequency the universe cannot ignore. So here is your call. Comment the words, "I am ready." Do it now. Let those words anchor into your nervous system. Let them broadcast your new frequency. And watch what begins to unfold. Hit like, save this message. Share it with those you love. Do not keep this code to yourself. Spread it, because when you share, you amplify. When you share, you multiply. The field. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next. Because this journey does not end here. It has only begun. And finally, thank you. Out of millions of videos, you chose this one. That is no accident. That is alignment. Your presence here is proof you are ready. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let this community grow stronger with your voice. Say it with me one last time. I am ready. Declare it. Anchor it. Live it. The time is not tomorrow. The time is not later. The time is now.